Good evening. On behalf of the New York Encounter, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this screening of the award-winning documentary Unguarded. We're here tonight with Simonetta Wiener, the film's director and co-producer. Simonetta is a professor of Italian language, literature, and film at St. Francis College here in New York City, and co-director of the Study Abroad program at the School of Visual Arts. She's curated a number of films, events at the School of Visual Arts, and for the Crossroads Cultural Center. And for 7 years, she served as the artistic director of the Meeting Rimini Film Festival. She has been a production consultant for short films and recently founded a film production company, Camino Productions NYC. Thank you, Simonetta, for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's imagine that there were no prison systems at all. Imagine that we were asked to create a solution for people who break the social contract. What would your solution look like? What principles would guide your approach? And now imagine that the person committing the crime and the people affected by the crime were people that you deeply love. What kind of system would you create? What would the experience be like for those who committed the crime, who did wrong, and how would you engage them in the best interest of society as well as for those individuals? Unguarded invites us into the remarkable story of APAC, an alternative prison system centered on the full recovery and rehabilitation of the person. Valdeci Ferreira is founder of APAC Itaúna in Brazil. He generously shared a greeting to the New York Encounter on the occasion of this screening. Let's play that video.
Eu queria cumprimentar de modo muito caloroso, de modo muito carinhoso, todas as pessoas presentes neste evento, dizer da nossa alegria, da nossa satisfação, dizer que é uma grande honra participar, ainda que de modo remoto, ainda que à distância, para apresentar de modo muito sucinto esta experiência das APACs. Eu sou Valdeci Ferreira, eu tenho 39 anos de atuação junto às prisões. Certamente que o início foi muito difícil, as revistas humilhantes e vexatórias às quais eu era submetido todas as vezes que eu visitava a prisão. Foi muito difícil enfrentar o preconceito da sociedade, das autoridades, aquela ideia ferrenha, aquela ideia de que o preso tem que sofrer, de que o preso tem que morrer, de que bandido bom é bandido morto. Não foi fácil lidar com esses preconceitos, com essas dificuldades, mas nada, absolutamente nada, e nem ninguém me fizeram abandonar este ideal, me fizeram abandonar esta causa que eu abracei. Depois de 3 anos convivendo com o total abandono daqueles e daquelas que cumprem prisões, que cumprem penas privativas de liberdade, eu conheci o método APAC através de uma bibliografia do Dr. Mário Ottoboni, e eu poderia dizer que conhecer o método APAC foi um divisor de águas na minha vida. Há um antes do conhecimento da APAC e um depois deste conhecimento. Desde então, trouxemos para Itaúna. Itaúna é uma cidade muito pequena, de 100 mil habitantes, próxima da capital Belo Horizonte, na região sudeste do Brasil. E desde então nos esforçamos para que a experiência das APACs pudesse se tornar realidade. Não foi um caminho fácil, mas aos poucos o projeto foi sendo delineado, estruturado, convencemos a sociedade, convencemos as autoridades e Itaúna passou a ser um centro de referência para o nascimento de outras APACs. Hoje são mais de 67 APACs, que são, na verdade, prisões que administram centros de reintegração social, sem polícia. E em todos estes centros de reintegração social, todas as chaves ficam nas mãos dos recuperandos e das recuperandas, desde as chaves das celas até as chaves que dão acesso às vias públicas. Um método constituído de 12 elementos que, quando aplicados de modo harmônico, reduzem a reincidência, reduzem os custos, reduzem a violência. Ou seja, na exata medida em que nós trabalhamos a recuperação do preso, nós protegemos a sociedade, socorremos as vítimas e promovemos a justiça restaurativa. Ao longo de tantos anos, muitos foram os documentários realizados no interior das APACs. Mas eu queria dizer hoje de que tocou profundamente o meu coração quando assisti o documentário Unguarded, tecido e elaborado com tanto carinho, com tanta sensibilidade pelas mãos da Simonetta e das pessoas que a acompanharam nessa trajetória. Eu queria de pronto, neste evento, agradecer mais uma vez este carinho da Simonetta, de toda a sua equipe, por este belíssimo trabalho que cada vez mais faz com que o método APAC seja conhecido e da mesma maneira faz com que o método APAC ganhe outras dimensões além fronteiras, além Brasil. Um grande abraço e muito obrigado a todos, um excelente evento.
We have a few minutes before the screening begins to hear some reflections from Simonetta. Simo, let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to create this documentary?
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you for everybody to be here. Thank to Michelle for coming from Los Angeles, just to be the moderator tonight. So, I can give you a punchline about what inspired me making the film. But I'll be very honest with you. I think that more than an inspiration was to understand that inside me there is a wound, and that I need to deal with this wound. So Kairos, was a perfect possibility. I had a friend in a house that night when we spoke about APAC. He's a former inmate, and I just mentioned to him about, do you know about APAC? And he said, yes, I heard about it. And I said, well, what do you think? Is that possible? You are a former inmate. What do you envision? The possibility can be a possibility here, something like that, in the United States? And he said, it would be a miracle. So I said, well, then I have to make a film about it. And so I started my journey, my research, my love for APAC. And only few people here can understand that. One is Helen Winnie, that is in front of me. Dear friend, that helped me from the beginning to go through real difficult choices. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Unguarded, the fruit of that process, is an official selection of the Justice Film Festival. Starting March 1st, the film will be available for streaming on PBS Plus, so please check your local listings for dates and times. Unguarded also has distribution here in the US through Bullfrog and Kinema, which is an app that actually allows you to create your own screenings. So we encourage you to check that out as well. So already a lot of recognition. Simo, what do these recognitions mean for you? And what is your hope for the distribution of this film here in the US?
Well, hard work, because when you make anything, artistically speaking, then it's the expression of that wound that you feel inside you. It's a hard work. When I think about the work that we have done, I can't help but to be extremely grateful to the people that accompany me from the beginning. I mentioned Helen, but I can say the very, very beginning, Barbara from APAC USA, then came with me to the trip to Brazil. The people that I met, the help that APAC gave me founding the film, TJ Verdon, and Bruno Tiesi with the beautiful cinematography that you will see. PBS, the difficulties with PBS, so the film editor, Vito De Candia, and so many other people. You need a village to create a film. And the distribution is not like, okay, I make a film and here it is. You just go into the world. It's really the result of an incredible journey. And again, it's a journey that starts with hard work. And about the hope, you mentioned about hope, but before I came here, I read the message of Pope Francis to the encounter. And there is one line that I actually wrote, and I wanted to, there was a possibility to read of his message. He said, I wish that the encounter could be help to create a culture of the encounter at the service of justice. I thought it was beautiful because this is what we really wanted with this film, to help this dialogue, which we started last year, with NGOs, with organization of human rights, reentry houses, like, my father's house in Colorado, people from Singapore. We screened the film to so many different realities that really allowed us to say there is a meaning for this film. So we hope to continue this, to create the culture of an encounter and to change the mentality from punitive to something that can be a rehabilitation and a dignity for a person. So,
yeah. Absolutely. I was actually describing APAC, and he had seen the trailer to a friend of mine who's active in prison reform here in the US. And he noted that here we tend to treat prisoners as though their crime outweighs everything about their existence, as though they are the sum of their crimes. And as we'll see, an important component of the APAC method is human valorization. And I know from our conversations this was an important, especially important aspect of that work, and would love for you to share some thoughts about how that comes through in the film.
Yeah, the first moment when they opened the door in APAC, I see this relationship with the person as opposed as the reduction of a person to the crime that she or he committed. And I ask myself, how that is possible? What these people have is a new gaze, right? And then through the journey with them, Valdeci is an exceptional man. I mean, I had the fortune to spend time with him. I saw that non-reduction of a person and is really the only condition to walk with the person that committed a crime, and believe me, there is no discount in APAC. So if you think that APAC is a place like, 4 stars hotel, that's a wrong image that you have. It's a person where it's a place where you work hard of who you are and what you did, but you're not reduced to what you did. And there is a beautiful slogan that they use with the incarcerated people. They are not called actually inmates, but recuperandos, people in a way of recovering. And they say to them, the hands that did evil can be now used to do good. And so you see through the movie what they do with the people, helping them to realize that there is something more than their crime. There is something that addressed their dignity as a person. So that was really something beautiful. And there is another slogan that you will see in the film, and it says, here enters the man and the crime remains outside. It was a shock for me to see that, which is exactly the opposite of a punitive system that addresses you only as someone that committed something wrong, and there is no hope for you. So, I'm sorry, I have to be short because of the timing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, just one more question then, which is around the theme of forgiveness, which I think is very related to hope and acknowledging. I mean, it's difficult to own when we've done something wrong. I know I personally struggle. I think we all struggle with that, and then what it means to be forgiven. And I have always been struck by Giussani's definition of forgiveness as making space in yourself again for the other. And I'm curious about how your own experience of making the film affected your own understanding of forgiveness.
Wow, what a question. Well, I can say something. Father Giussani also wrote that mercy is not a human word. So when I think about forgiveness and mercy, I think something that I'm not capable of. In the experience of APAC, I saw that only an infinite love, unconditional love, can help you to be able to look at somebody with forgiveness and mercy. And I give you an example of something shocking that resonated with me, and it will resonate with me all my life. I met briefly with a mother of somebody whose son was killed. And I met her in the APAC as a volunteer. And they introduced me, and I asked her why she was there. And she said, well, I met the mother of a son that killed my son. And when I saw her drama and her pain, I said, I need to share the love that I met with this woman. So I decided to come to the APAC and volunteer here where the son, the person that killed my son is. So there's something really different here. Something almost close to be not human. I mean, imagine only that. So I can say the same for myself. When I came back, I desired to experience that infinite love. I always have this image of a prodigal son of Rembrandt that allowed me to give and to offer that space that Michelle was reminded us with the sentence of Father Giussani. So I don't know if I answered enough, but
Thank you, Simo. Thank you for sharing these thoughts with us, and most importantly, for creating this film. It's really the start of a dialogue for us and an invitation, as you say, to a change of mentality for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.